Hi, friends. You're about to listen to two legends in ultra running, Clare Gallagher and Brittany Peterson, who give a play-by-play recount of their historic 2019 Western States battle for first and second, a race that many people, myself included, believe changed ultra running forever. I look up to both Clare and Brittany immensely as athletes and humans, and this is a conversation I've dreamed of having for 5 years, and it finally happened. Thank you so much to Brittany and Clare for coming on today. It meant the world. Enjoy. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Trail Network podcast. I'm your host, Katie Asmuth, and I am joined by two very special guests, Clare Gallagher, Brittany Peterson. Welcome to the Trail Network podcast.
Hey.
Thanks, Katie.
Okay, guys, so I had an absolute blast preparing for this interview. And frankly, the amount of excitement I have to talk to you two about the 2019 Western States Throwdown, has my heart just pounding. And all ultra running fans out there, I know, are on the edge of their seat waiting to relive this moment. This day in history that really shaped our sport in so many ways. And it's kind of fun. I posted on Instagram some questions. So you'll hear some questions from listeners dabbled into this interview. But it mostly, instead of questions, it was just I can't wait for this. So just so you guys know, you have a lot of fans out there. So thank you so much for coming on today. It means a lot. First, I have to ask, I'll start with Brittany. Do you ever think about June 29th, 2019?
Yeah, I mean, every now and again, I see pictures and stuff, and one of my favorite pictures really is Claire and I just hugging at the finish line, where that's usually what I think. There's only really been, I don't know, under 5 times when I'm I was so close to winning. It's it didn't matter. It ultimately really came down to that was such an amazing day of heart. And both of us just digging deep and really pushing each other to just have amazing days.
Absolutely. Claire, do you think about that day?
It gives me chills. There's very few hours in my life that I can think back to and remember play-by-play almost down to the minute. And those, because it was more than an hour roughly. I don't know. I've never actually done the math because Brittany, you caught me, I think, at mile 90, maybe 89.
We're going to go into all of this.
Yeah. So to not get too, it's so beautiful to have shared something so visceral with another human that I love dearly. And I mean, it's just it's the juice of life, the fact that we shared that experience. And it's the epitome of presence, to be so, so, so present for those minutes. So in our bodies. Yeah.
It's so beautiful. It's such a privilege.
Yeah.
Such a privilege to experience what you guys experienced. So, All right, we're going to do a little bit of a debrief, a little bit of a deep dive into the day. So we're going to start with Brittany. We're going to talk, let's see if we can remember this stuff, but I know this is 5 years ago. Before the race, okay, you're going into your first Western States. At the time, you're coached by Paul Lind, who notoriously has history with Western States. I know his athletes aren't able to run in the high country those first 30 miles before the day. I'm curious what your mindset was going into Western States, and were you going for the win?
It was funny because, it's totally a headspace game, really. Being kind of the underdog, which now in hindsight, I'm oh gosh, I wish I could go back to those days because it was kind of nice, just being off the radar where there wasn't pressure. People were asking how I wanted to do, and it's just it was that balance of I know I can be top 10. I know I can have a good day. I'm ready to crush. But at the same time, it's like, I'm a nobody, like not wanting to like just, I don't know, come off out of place, I suppose. There's things like the pre-run or pre-race poll of like, who do you think's going to win? And I think I was like towards the bottom where like I can take that and go into a dark headspace. But at the same time, there was one like really pivotal moment where Andy Jones Wilkins like called me out as the dark horse. And it was like, somebody sees me, somebody believes in me, which I'm really working on not needing that external validation, but that was kind of that turning point of like, I can go out there and do something. I certainly wasn't going for the win. I mean, I think I believed I was capable of having an amazing day. I had spent plenty of time on the course. I had had plenty of good runs leading up to that. Like, so I just think that little boost of like, okay, yeah, I can, like, not ever, I'm not going to win the popularity contest probably ever, but I can still like have confidence in myself and trust my training and know that I can go and execute while also understanding that you can't control everything.
The uncertainty of it all. Yeah. It's hard because you're going into a race. I think all of us feel this way. Especially maybe in the professional level where you're like, I really want to perform. And also you need to go in with a humble mindset because anything can happen out there. All right, Claire, what was it like for you leading up to Western States 2019?
Yeah, I think Brittany paints a good picture kind of for all of us, right? I mean, maybe you feel similarly, Katie, on the start line at that race or a UTMB-esque competitive race if you're not Courtney, and this was 2019. So to bring people back who are maybe newer to the sport, this is 5 years ago. Courtney had definitely established herself as like I would say this was kind of like the time right before Courtney became the GOAT, and she was in that race, right? So let's not forget.
So all eyes are on Courtney, really,
to a degree, and not like today, right? So it was still a bit of this like, oh, who are these women? Yeah, like, have you already raced this woman? Like, how fast is she? What's her ground speed? What's her like? But for me, I actually was in a really bizarre, unique place that I would probably never return to again because it was just so unique. Because I had come back from this basically like a mountaineering trip in Alaska. It was an advocacy trip with Patagonia to raise awareness.
Wasn't it last minute too?
Yeah,
like Tommy Caldwell just call you up and was like, hey, you want to come trek in Alaska? And you're like, I've got a big race, but okay, let's go.
Yeah, it was one of those once in a lifetime experiences. And I feel like, if either of you had gotten that call, you probably would have, I don't know, not to put you in that place, but like, you guys get it. You're like mountain women. And to really raise awareness for this plight of drilling in a pristine place. And so like my mindset was just like kind of not on Western States. And then I get to Tahoe and I honestly was just so relieved to know that we were going to be running on a trail, because that's how like deep I was like in the wilderness in Alaska, and I was kind of haggard. Like I was pretty wrecked and I hadn't run for 2 weeks. Maybe a little here and there. I was on my feet the whole time. So I came to States and I was like, you know what? I've kind of already won. I like had some injury weirdness stuff. And I'm like, here we go. So that's where I was at, which was a total mind trip. Because in May, I was like, oh yeah, I'm like going for the win. And I think it does also show Western States training starts in April, like putting in those times when no one's watching. Like it's not about crash training. It's about that slow build and not getting burned out. So
and yeah, we gotta backtrack for you. Like you had already won CCC. You've already won Leadville at this point. You were coming into Western States super fit, but then you had this like 2-week taper, but like a hard taper. Like you're on your feet for 14 hours a day for over a week or something.
Yeah, it's just bizarre. It's just like, okay, honestly, I think a lot of people are like, okay, no one cares. Like next, like we're here to talk about states. Like, let's run this race.
Okay, so you didn't have any necessarily niggles going into the day, Claire. Like you're ready.
Oh no, I
did.
I was talking to Brian
did.
Powell, and I'm like, dude, what's the deal with like Achilles injuries? Because like I got a problem, and he's like, here, just like use this, heel lift, whatever. And because Brian has like notorious Achilles problems, but they like went away 20 miles in. Yeah.
Okay, wait, on that, before we leave, I read something that he told you if it hurts while you're walking, it's going to hurt while you're running. So you might as well run.
Yeah. I mean,
is that accurate?
Yeah, that's like so Brian. I mean, how can it not be? Yeah. That's like everyone who like has been in this sport long enough.
I love it.
Yeah.
Right. Just run. Okay. So Britt, you're going into the day, you're feeling pretty confident, but you also are you feeling the newbie mindset a bit uncertain. No niggles though. You're feeling like strong, prepped, ready to race.
Yeah, I mean, really though, interesting, because my buildup, like saying that it starts in April, like I was out in May. I was mountain biking all April. I was on the Alter G. Like I was supposed to run Transvolcania that year, and I didn't go because I was like, I need the Alter G. I need my PT. And I remember like in early May, I basically just started running, which then now in hindsight, it's like my training was totally different. Like my peak training was like pretty on par and like confidence boosting. But like my long-term build up to it was so different. I remember talking to Ian Corliss after, and he's just like, does this change your mindset on how you train? And it's like, I have no idea, because I was a teacher at the time, so I got out of school in May. I was on the Alter G a whole bunch, and I just pulled 100-mile weeks, which I normally don't do, but it was all just easy
on
running.
The Alter G.
No, well, it was a hybrid at first, and then it was like the perfect timing of my base of mountain biking, like really perfect, I guess, alignment and mechanics, which I honestly think that was the trick of like, I just was really dialed in because I hadn't been dialed in before, and like the biking, the Alter G just really got my body tuned up, I guess, and then long, slow, easy running, which then boosted into like some good quality training in that kind of key time right before the race. So it was really interesting, and it still kind of baffles me to this day of like, well, that's different than how I trained, and that's like one of my best races. So like, it goes to show like I'm not a high volume runner, and I'm not like saying that was the trick. It was really just the like repetition off of a base of like kind of just fine tuning mechanics to really be efficient. And then I guess it goes to show like you don't need to be running like sub sixes in Western. Like I didn't need to be like on the track hammering speed all the time. Like, so I just did time on feet and volume, and yeah. So interesting.
Isn't it beautiful how different people can show up to a race? The buildup is so different. The mentality is so different. I feel like, well, first, Britt, that really motivates me since I'm on the Alter G and doing a lot of gravel cycling. So that makes me feel really good. Maybe I should toe the line at state in a couple weeks. Anyways, so okay, all right. So we're heading into the race now. Courtney goes out in front. Claire is clearly in second. Brittany, you're kind of like toggling between like third, fourth. And there, it sounds like Amanda Basham was there. Casey Lichtig was there. You're kind of flip-flopping a bit. Do you guys remember anything like, I don't know, noteworthy about those first 30 miles?
I just remember being alone for 80 miles. Like, that's all I remember. Like, I was like, sick. I got second. Like, even at mile 50, because I don't think I had that much of a lead on y'all, Brittany and the other ladies. But Courtney was maybe not like so far ahead, but I was literally running alone. And I think for me, I conserved a lot of energy by not having anyone around me to like banter with, which I love, but I think in the States, like you really have to take your energy conservation where you can. So I like had a great time with the trees. That's all I remember.
You're saving energy not talking, it sounds like.
Yeah.
I need to take some of that. I just like chat my way through races. Okay,
Yeah.
Brittany, this is your first time in the high country. So what's going through your
Yep.
mind? Are you like, I need to pace myself? Do you know your placement at that time? Are you chatting with Casey and Amanda? What's going on?
No, it was kind of a similar experience. And now that I've run it 3 times, it's like,
Mm,
wow, that was such a unique year.
mm.
Not in the like compared to my other experiences where this was actually snow in the high country, which I prefer. And the other 2 years I've done it, very little, if not no snow. So it's like the runners can run in the high country versus the non-snow runners in 2019 couldn't run in the high country. And
Oh
so,
yeah. Now I
yeah,
remember. Totally.
that
That was
was
so fun.
amazing
Yeah.
because it did spread us out because it kind of
Yeah.
showed like you can run in the snow and this is actually going to be really hard for other people to run in the snow. And so it did space people out a lot more than at least the other years I've done it, where it is a train of people. And then it does turn into like, am I running too fast? Am I wasting energy chatting? Like, should I pass now? And, whatever. So I remember that same thing. And it was fairly spiritual, like just being in the high
Mm.
country for the first time, being on snow and like kind of feeling like, all right, I'm kicking ass at this point because this is fun for me and
Yeah.
I can do this. And then I'm noticing like this is an advantage because I'm not struggling in the snow or yeah, exactly. And so it did lead into like I had zero expectation and actually I was so anxious about what's that first little part going to be like because it is so important to run your own race in those
Mm.
early miles, if not like 3/4 of the race. Um, and so I think the snow really just set up a good spacing between people where I was running alone too. Like I remember, I think Amanda had like an unfortunate like fall or something, and like I think that kind of like took her out a little bit earlier because I remember passing her and like she had said something about tweaking her calf, or I don't really
Mm.
remember, but so it was like see a person every now and again. So past Amanda, but I think Casey was still ahead of me, but again spaced out. And then like the middle of, well, I'm sure we're getting there, but like Casey and I just kind of flip flopping. That's what I remember is hearing Claire's ahead of me consistently. And then me and Casey kind of taking turns. And
Were
that was
people
it.
talking about Courtney, or was it like last year where it's like we weren't
Yeah.
racing Courtney,
No,
or
I think
like was she so far ahead?
people were still talking about her. That's the
Yeah.
cool thing is like she was still like part of the pack
Okay,
Yeah.
back
okay.
then, at least I had minutes like from Robinson Flat, so we get out of the high country and then it's like, okay, I mean, I don't know, she probably was within 10 minutes ahead of me if I had to guess. And then I knew that the Brittany and Casey were not far behind. Yeah.
So okay, so you guys are mostly just like running your own races, just pretty much alone, kind of knowing just at aid stations what people are telling you, but not really knowing, which is kind of the beauty a bit about
Mm-hmm.
kind of several years ago. You don't really have that luxury anymore in the sense of feeling alone in the mountains because there is a camera on you and you definitely know where you are. So we can get to that. But it was kind of a different time. It was before a live stream at Western State. So, but we can talk about that. All right. So we get to Forest Hill. Something that I saw that I thought was kind of fun. Claire, you saw a brown bear on Cal Street.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It was like a little, maybe like a young, like a teenager. Like it was a small brown bear that just looked like a little beach ball. It's just a
That's a
Oh.
good
round little
omen.
ball. And yeah, yes, we're on Cal Street. We're in the 60s, right? Mileage wise.
Yep.
And my pacer, I actually literally just saw this dude, Jeff, such a good dude. And I was still having a good time. And the little brown bear like rolled off the trail like a little ball would. Like,
Oh,
I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, it's just why I love trail running. It's like, this is so sick. And there's the American River. Like, wow, this is so good. But I mean, I literally had kind of like acquiesced to like, I'm going to get second. Like, as long as I don't totally just like mess myself up or fall. Like I was running quite conservatively at that point because I felt good, my nutrition was good. And but then it was like towards, oh yeah, like halfway through Cal Street, someone's like, Courtney's slowing down. And then we get to the river.
Somebody said Courtney's slowing down.
Yeah.
Is that what you
And
said?
then I was like, oh my gosh, well, that's crazy. You know, and then I get to the river and it happens so fast. I mean, Brittany knows
so
this.
Just for our listeners, Claire, before we're around mile 78 at the river.
Okay. Yeah. So we're and for listeners, we're chugging on through this because the exciting stuff comes at mile 8 and 9. But this was equally as exciting. I get to the river and everyone is a buzz. Like everyone has just been stung by a hive. And I'm like, what the heck? You know, I've got brown bear on my mind. I'm like, I'm chilling. And they're like, Courtney's on the other side of the river. And I'm like, oh
my gosh.
Yeah. And I mean, it's super unfortunate in her case. I think she had a pretty bad hip injury come up pretty suddenly, and it seems pretty severe. So I crossed the river like no one's business, you know. I'm like, and then that's when my race really just became like, all right, Claire, like this is time to be a professional. Like this is literally what you came here to do. You're showing up. This is where you click in, right? And I'm like, I have a chance to win Western States. Let's go. And so I passed Courtney up the hill. She was already walking at that point. We had a lovely chat. She was so generous and kind and gracious. And from then on out, I basically, she was walking with
Kevin, her husband, up from the river up to Green Gate, that big hill. Yeah. And she's just walking. You pass her. And we actually have that on film because somebody happened to have seen that, was there with the camera. So anyway, we have that live, which was kind of fun. It's really genuine, you know, the like get after it, Claire, kind of back and forth. It was pretty cool to witness that because we didn't see a lot during that day, but that is one thing that was captured. So that has to be something that you remember about the day.
Yeah, I mean, Courtney is as gracious as she seems, you know. It's like it's kind of crazy. But I also at some point in that hoopla of kind of chaos and like extreme nervous system jolt, right? Of like, whoa, like, and I still have 20 miles to run. I was informed that our friend Brittany and company were not far behind. I don't know actually how far you were, but it was, I don't know. Do you remember, Brittany, how far you were at the river?
I passed Courtney as well going up from there, but obviously walking, that doesn't mean anything in particular. But I remember, like, obviously I'm sure I heard variable things, but it was like 10 minutes, over and over and over throughout the whole day. But I do know, like, on the other side, like that number was getting more variable and closing in.
Oh my gosh. Wait, okay. Were you alone at the river or were you with Casey at that point? You were fully alone. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
and that's when you picked up a pacer.
Yes. Okay. So like Casey, I think struggled after Forest Hill. And so I had a really good section from Forest Hill to the river and that put time on Casey. And so that really, I was in the mindset of like, holy shit, I'm in third. But I want to back up because Forest Hill is magical. Like, so for me being the black horse, the off the radar, to come in there in third, fourth, you know, right next to Casey, or I forget, maybe right after Casey.
Right, the darling of Western States.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. And Casey's beautiful. Like we had such a great, when she did pass me in the canyons and I'm like, how can this lady from Nebraska like pass me on these hills? Like good for her.
I'm obsessed with her. Yeah.
Yeah. She's
going for a 10th Western States this year.
Yeah. She's beautiful and amazing. Yeah. But like coming into Forest Hill as like the newbie or whatever, it's just like, it was maybe like one of the first times that people like cheered for me by my name. And it was kind of this like, it was a very uplifting thing of like, wow, this day is certainly magical. And it's like more than I even expected. And like the ambiance and like just the support, like those are some of my favorite pictures as well, is like like just seeing the like excitement of people like cheering for me and like recognizing people and like, and for the first time, like being recognized from people I had no idea who they were. So that was super uplifting, which led into a really good descent down to the river.
So for our listeners, so
Yeah.
Forest Hill is notorious for a place that all spectators can be there. There's tons of parking. It's like on the road. And so everybody's there. It's like definitely a party, lots of hype. I've gotten in this situation where I'm too excited and I head out of Forest Hill like so charged that I'm sprinting and I'm like, that was not a good idea.
Yeah.
So if you can actually kind of mess up your race by getting too into the hype at Forest Hill, but for you, it was just the right amount of hype. You head out of mile 62 at Forest Hill, heading down to the river, which is around mile 78. So you're alone in that section, it sounds like, and you're in third place. And now you're starting to chase. And you keep hearing that Claire is like 10 minutes ahead, but you're like, let's go? Or are you like, I'm happy in third?
No. So, I mean, it's Forest Hill is like when the race starts, but it's like you can't just slaughter yourself on that descent down to the river. So it still is like really the race starts after the river, like, because you can harm yourself.
Definitely.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hot take.
Yeah. So really it was like start chasing, but still be attentive to pacing and energy expenditure and stuff like that. Cause yeah, like my race plan, maybe I shouldn't share, but my race plan from the beginning was I was told by my coach, like get to the river where like in the place you want to be where you're going to finish. And so it was like, I remember Paul at that time, like when I got to the river, like I have a picture of like him holding me by the face, which was basically like Courtney is going to drop. Like Courtney is injured. She's walking up the other side. So it's like, well, shoot, now I'm in second.
Yeah.
And actually, yeah, I think I maybe messed that up. It was get to Highway 49 where I wanted to finish, which is extra epic.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
River where you want to be is a little like
right. Okay, so sorry, I misspoke. But it was like that pivotal moment at the river of like the game has changed now. You're in second chasing for the win, and then that next section is the chase to get to Highway 49, where that's where you want to be for your finish, or like to like that would basically secure I'm going to get this place, which is really ironic.
That
oh my God. Endorphins are surging. My endorphins are surging listening to this. Claire.
Literally, Brittany, that race plan explains what happened. And I don't think I've known that until just now. Because it's like, what possessed you? Of course, you're a phenomenal athlete, you're competitive, like it's a race, but like the surge that you put in, and I guess I want to just hear it from you. I'm like, how did you catch us? Like how, you know? And it was only 9 miles.
So wait. So you crossed the river.
Yeah.
Let's backtrack. Let's backtrack. So we're crossing the river. Courtney's on the other side. Do you and Courtney have an interaction, Brittany? Do you see Courtney?
Yes.
Okay, what was
so
that interaction
very
like?
similar.
Not caught on camera.
Like, yeah. I mean, again, it's like, obviously I respected Courtney immensely at that, like before that, but it's just like, I think that's where like my heart really connected with her from that moment, because again, she's walking, she's limping, like she DNF'd up at Green Gate, where it's just like, that has got to be like, you make it that far to just have your body say no, like that's heartbreaking, you know, but she like looked up at me with like eyes wide and with, you know, maybe surprise, but also like excitement, and like gave the most genuine, heartfelt, like, oh my gosh, you know, like was so like, keep going, or like, I don't remember if she said, go get her or whatever, but it was like this like huge, like push of support and like celebration for me in a moment that was heartbreaking for her. And it's like, that just, again, speaks huge volume. And it's like respect was already there, but it's like that respect was sealed and never ever going anywhere from that moment on.
Okay, so now you're chasing. So we're passing Green Gate. We're heading towards Auburn Lakes Trail, 85. At that point, there's an 8-minute gap between you and Claire.
Wait, really?
And
damn.
what happens next is like the most insane splits in sport history. The fact that you were able to catch Claire, because now Claire's in first,
Yeah,
and Claire
it's
knows
not
you're right behind her. So Claire's running hard.
It's not like I'm walking. Like, I'm still hauling ass. We ran 17:20s, like overall for Western States. Like, but I was struggling. Full stop. Yeah, like whimpering kind of the whole time. I think I whatever like threw up a little bit. I was like in baby mode at that point, like infantile mode. But I also did
And why do you think, Claire? Why do you think you were in that headspace at that point?
Probably because I was at mile 85 of Western States in first place,
Yeah.
running my ass off, and emotionally that race was, just emotionally it was a lot. I think kind of prior because of like what I had done prior, you know, advocacy wise, but also just like it truly never crossed my mind Brittany could catch me, because 8 minutes at the end of Western States is kind of a lot of time. Like that means that you were running, Brittany, like a minute per mile faster to catch me, like almost exactly. And I probably was running like eights or not. I was probably running, I don't know, 9 or 10 minute pace. I don't know.
It's all on Strava, everybody. So everybody go check that out.
Maybe
okay,
it's much
Brittany,
slower
so
than that. I don't know.
Okay, Brittany, you are, well, we're going to go over your splits, Claire, at the end, because it's kind of fun. So Brittany, you are chasing, you're putting in this insane surge, like some of the most gutsy racing ever. Okay. And you are driven, like what's going on? What are you saying back and forth to your pacer? You're just full on hunting? Because you are in a different mindset than Claire at this point, where you're like, I'm going to win. Where are you?
Oh, I'm not in I'm gonna win. I was suffering, but
Okay.
yeah. Cody Lind was my pacer, obviously, for like the last 40 miles. He knows that race like the back of his hand. He was my partner at the time, so it's like obviously he could push me and he knew how to push me. So essentially, like he was amped way more than my energy supply could make me amped. And so it really turned into he jumped ahead of me and it was like, get on my ass, like you're gonna follow me. And I did, so it was basically he set the pace and I was in the low, but it was like I was almost in like just like stock horse mode of like, all right, I'm gonna follow and I can do this. Like so it's so funny because like everyone talks about like how magical that end was, and it's like I feel like I was in this like out of body experience, but not in like a euphoric way, in like a detached way, because you're just so depleted by that point, or like that obviously depleted me. So it's like I found a spot where it's like I had what it took to like get in those gears, but it wasn't my tenacity necessarily. It was my obedience. Which comes from tenacity. It comes from drive and dedication, but it's just like it was hunker down and just do what is in front of me.
Yeah, take your mind out of it. It's just like body go. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't think at that point. Okay. So Brittany, good. Did you want to say something else?
I was just gonna say, like, that's not my favorite section at all. Like, it's blazing hot still, and that was a hot year.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's just like there's just so many ins and outs, and like you're just at that point you're just like, get me to that aid station, but it's like freaking forever. And then get to like being out of the ALT section, which also is forever. So it's like not my favorite section. So it really just kind of fostered that like probably that pack horse like mindset of just get through it and like follow the leader. And yeah, it resulted in bust your butt and it made up for something, but it's like it was not as magical as maybe what it seemed from the outside.
It speaks to so many things, Brittany, like the importance of picking a pacer, because it's kind of our dream, right? Everyone's dream to be in these scenarios at the end of Western States where you are in an opportunity to podium or get top 10, right? And my pacer was similar. I was dating him at the time, and I was also following him. And it wasn't the same mentality because we weren't chasing, right? but it really does speak to the power of choosing your pacers wisely.
All right, you guys, let's talk about shoes. I've been running in Arc'teryx trail shoes for the past 5 years, and I absolutely love them. I've put them through their paces at everything from mountainous 100-milers to fast California trails. Arc'teryx recently launched the brand new Sylan, which is also officially your new best friend on both long and short days on the trails. It's built with a Vibram outsole that's 30% lighter than traditional Vibram. It's got amazing cushion underfoot and an exaggerated rocker that propels you forward. I personally really love feeling faster than I am. It's kind of the best. It also has an anti-debris knit collar to keep all that dirt out of your shoes and on the trails. As I ramp up my training mileage in the next few months before my first 200-mile race in August, the shoes I wear in training and in my race are the most important thing for me to dial in. The Sylan shoes are those shoes for me, and I think you should try them too. Head to Arc'teryx.com to learn more about the new Sylan shoes. We would like to thank Arc'teryx for sponsoring this episode, and we will now get back to the show.
This is a good time for a question. Jerome Bautista asks, if you could relive the race, would you rather be leading or chasing? And this question's for both of you.
Woo. I don't know if I want to relive it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, low key, it took me
Neither.
like 2 years. It took me 2 years to recover from that race. Like, because of that woman right there, because of Brittany. Like,
Because of your magical 5K finish, like that was unreal.
Yeah. I couldn't answer that, Jerome.
Yeah, Claire's a neither. Claire's like, I don't want to do this again.
Yeah, and I think like leading has got to be harder because it's like the pressure of don't lose it. At least that's a natural default mindset where it should stay into like, I've got this and like keep surging, but it's just like, you don't know what the person behind you is doing. But then at the same time, it's like you look at the result of like, I got second. So like maybe leading was a good thing, but I think it's maybe more exciting or less pressure. So you can keep that sharp mindset from chasing. But if you can lead, like that's great. So it's the catch-22. Yeah, it's hard.
Okay, so we're around mile. Well, I just want to give some context for the listeners. So at mile 85, Brittany's 8 minutes behind Claire. At mile 91, she's 3 minutes behind Claire. Wow. Okay. At this point, it was around this time it starts to get dark, and Brittany turns off her headlamp. And Claire doesn't think she's so close because she doesn't see the headlamp. These are the stories. This is the oral history that's been handed down. So correct me if I'm wrong here. But I do know, Brittany, is that a couple years ago during Western States training camp, you're like, this is the spot where I turned off my headlamp, And I remember feeling oh God, I'm getting the chills. This was it. This is hallowed ground, right? And like, this is where the battle began. So tell me, Brittany, what
on the uphill?
Who did Cody tell you to do that? Was this your idea? Why did you turn off your headlamp?
Well, I think throughout that last section, the numbers from what I had been hearing was it was getting smaller. So there was getting that affirmation of like either Claire's slowing down or I guess I'm doing okay, So I knew we were getting close, and then it was like dusk, so I could still see. So we're climbing up to Highway 49. I don't even know, like we're still maybe on that bottom third when I turned my headlamp off. It was still, you could see. And it's funny, like in hindsight, it's like all of the times I would run with friends at 5 a.m. and my headlamp would die and I'd just be like, proprioception, I'm just working on my proprioception. It was like, actually I was training for Western States 2019. But actually I had crewed my friend at Wasatch, I don't remember, several years before that. And like, it was a similar situation of like neck and neck women at the end. It was dark and like I remember watching it on like the tracking of like, this girl is catching her and like she should go incognito. And I don't remember where that came from, but she ended up turning off her headlamp. And so it's like that had been modeled for me before, but I do think it was Cody that was like, turn off your headlamp. And I don't remember exactly because maybe he heard something. I don't think we were that close to see you guys at that point, but maybe your headlamp had been on or something. I don't know. Something Cody was basically like, we're on their heels. Now it's time to go incognito. And so we did.
Absolutely genius. I mean, the fact that you can run at dusk, now it's getting dark, and
Yeah.
you're running without a headlamp, and you're like, I'm just gonna sacrifice those ankles, whatever. If I die, it was worth it. Whatever it is. I love it.
I don't remember it being like risky, you know, like whether there was a good moon out or something. Like I could see enough, but also it's like we're climbing, so I was hiking for sure.
Yeah.
You know, there's sections to run, but it's like those sections are relatively smooth. Again, it's like I've run way too cool. Like I've been on that section a gazillion times. Not that I haven't memorized or anything, but it's like I know the big rock spots. I know the runnable sections. So it's like it wasn't hard to do that, I suppose, from my recollection.
I think this speaks to what a mountain athlete you are, Brittany. Like the way you describe having fun in the snow the first 30 miles, being able to go without a lamp in that really like weird twilight hour dusk of Western states. And like, what a sweet thing to be almost done with the race with mostly in daylight, right? Meanwhile, I was like a blubbering mess. I remember being at Howe Corner's aid station, which I think is 91. So I was only 3 minutes ahead of you. I could only eat like soggy potato chips, but I would just kind of like gum them, you know? And I was still kind of laughing, and I'm like, oh, and I honestly think I was like a little detached. Like I didn't think it would be possible you could catch me. Like there's no way. I just have to run mine more aisles. And then sorry. I don't know what mile it was you caught me. Do you know, Katie, from
Yes,
your
I do. Okay. So Brittany makes the pass around mile 93. So it's like about a mile before Pointed Rocks aid station, mile 94. You make the pass. And Brittany, if you can tell a little bit about that. So you see Claire has her headlamp on. You see Claire in her pacer. And what, like, are you and Cody talking at that point? Or is it just like, all right, like, had you already said, when we see her, because we're running so well, when we see her, we're going to surge and pass? Or was it just like this innate, like mountain, like competitor that's like, let's just shove ourselves in front of her and go for it?
Oh, I remember this perfectly. I remember exactly where it was because we were like right at the section where it kind of levels out and you can see like the crossing up ahead of you. So we're not like right there yet, like where you're right at the spot where then it drops down. It was like the section where it's like that's just coming into view. And I made the classic mistake that I often have of like that energy surge was unreal. And so I did surge and pass her. But do you remember, Claire? Like I tripped on rocks and I kneeled over right at the time that I was going around her. So it's like that just took the wind out of my sail and we're basically like right next to each other where it's like we're coming down to Highway 49 and we're literally crossing 49 side by side. So my epic surge was like quickly deflated and then it was like back to reality. I'm like, that was magical for a split second. It was so magical, but it was magical for a split second because it's like there was just that little hump of rocks. It's like I could go and find that today. I know exactly where that was because those damn rocks tripped me.
That's the only reason, Claire, you got it. Those damn rocks.
That's exactly it.
What do you remember?
I mean, it's so fun to think back. I mean, fun, but also like kind of disturbing because you came up so truly so fast. Like I'm talking to Alistair is his name. He's this lovely Kiwi, you know, so he's like kind of like trying to coax me to go faster. And then it was like, holy God! Oh my God! Oh, wow! Like Like literally they came up like ghosts in the night. And I was definitely hiking uphill as well. And Brittany, like, I don't know if you like kind of hike jog past me, and Cody's all business too. Very friendly though, very friendly, both of you, considering what was happening. And then I was in shock and was able to just latch on to you until Highway 49. And I don't even know if there were many words exchanged. It was like kind of the epitome of awkwardness. Like, and
Yeah, it was.
but also just like such intensity. Like, I cannot believe this is happening. And when that happened, I was taken so aback. Kind of everything for me what changed like in an instant, and I became a completely different person. I became feral. I became the
I
most
witnessed that.
primal version of myself. And then it took a couple miles. So we crossed Highway 49, and then we're going uphill towards that aid station. What's it called? Pointed Rocks. And in my head, I was like scheming. Basically, I was like,
Yeah.
don't lose her. Like, I had forgotten about all my pain, my like supposedly broken foot, blah blah blah. I had peed myself, like, and I was like, okay, how do we win this? And I don't even think I was talking to Alistair. Like, it was entirely like, so I was like, okay, stay with her. And then I was trying to do like quick math in my head of like, how many miles could I go all out? And then we get to Pointed Rocks, and I don't think I had made the decision, but then the decision came to my body without me even consenting. I just followed, where I dropped all of the excess stuff in my pack, which wasn't even that much. It's state, so it's like heavily crude. I don't even think I had a soft flask, maybe one with like a little bit of Coke. I like threw my sunglasses, like anything excess. And I mean, there's a photo of us. It almost looks like I'm elbowing Brittany, which like might have happened, like not intentionally. But we were literally side to side. I think Brittany was leading, and then I was like, okay, this is where I go. I'm not going to stop. And I didn't tell Alistair. And then I literally started sprinting. And
Burned it. That's what you did.
we had 6 miles to go. 6
Oh,
miles.
okay. Pause. So for the spectators, you can imagine. Okay, so at mile 85, there's an 8-minute gap. Mile 91, there's a 3-minute gap. Over the loudspeakers at the finish, there's an announcement. Okay, and you can imagine the pack stands, right? Because men have already been some finishing, right? So there's pack stands over the loudspeakers. They've been given updates about where the gaps have been. Update from the course. At mile 94.7, Clare Gallagher and Brittany Peterson are running together. Okay, can you imagine? I mean, like, people's minds were exploding, okay? Like, there's no live stream. So we're all just like trying to track on the phones and getting like I Run Far updates, okay?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the whole ultra running world is watching this moment, and it could have gone either way, right? So we're at Pointed Rocks. Claire throws some stuff and just beelines, just like doesn't stop for food, water. No, she's not getting anything. She's just going for it. Brittany, what do you do at Pointed Rocks?
So like climbing up from Highway 49 to Pointed Rocks, I agree. Like, I think I remember Claire, I was like, oh, she's doing a mind game, because you said something about this is where I dropped in whatever year that was.
Yeah,
I was like,
2017. Yeah.
So I was like, is she going to drop now? Like, no, she's just yanking my chain, trying to get in my head. No, I like at that point, it's like you're again so disconnected of like, I think I was just like, oh shit, like I caught her. I'm at 49. This was the whole plan to be where I want to be at Highway 49. I didn't exactly think it'd be with first place, like right at first and second together. It's like, who wants, I think my like constant fear is like a sprint at the end of 100-mile on the track. But I've always thought like on the track, not at mile 90. What was that? That was 90. So then it's like we're together in this, like, I was in this aloof, like, I don't know, just like not thinking headspace. Like,
Yeah.
clearly I needed to like have that like planning, you know, like it was just something that was so off my radar and then I was just like losing anything at the end of a 100-mile race, like I think most people do, like where it's just my brain was not at all into like, what's my plan of attack?
Yeah.
It's like I've been chasing. Okay, you know, I caught her,
Right.
but she hung with me. Now what? You know, like there wasn't a now
That wasn't
what,
the
like what's
plan.
my next
Right.
plan?
Yeah.
So it's like when we got to Pointed Rocks, it's like again, I like that's another one of my favorite pictures, like the Iron Far picture of just chaos. Like, because I remember it was going to Brock's and it was like Claire game on, and I was like, oh, that would have been smart. You know, like it's like there's a downhill section ahead of it. Like I just remember she threw something not in front of me, but it's like I saw her throw her bottle or whatever, and I was like, I should be doing that, you know. So it was like this, but like mine was not a planned thing. Mine was a scramble of like, oh shit, you know, like good idea. And so it was trying to emulate that, but like a bit behind, you know, not more than a bit behind, of like caught off guard behind, where then it was like I just got burned, and that made me sink into the I'm really tired and my head is tired of fighting and chasing, and but it's just like I just couldn't sustain the pace that Claire found. It was just insane. I
mean,
was aloof.
yeah, putting myself in your shoes, it's like you caught me, which was already monumental. Like we said, it's not like I was going slow. Like you were running kind of out of your mind, really, from like 80 to till the end. But yeah, what a trip. I remember running down that hill, and I really was like, then I started thinking about Brittany a lot, because for some reason, well, we had connected because I had run like one of her local races, Scout Mountain in Idaho in June. And I mean, I think like Brittany had the course record at that race.
Yeah, she took my course record.
Like we had like this kind of fun, competitive knowledge of each other already. And I just remember when I went insane at that aid station and tried to go for it, I was like, Brittany has ground speed. Like I kept thinking it to myself because I had remembered that you were working on like your 5K pace that winter. And I was like, Claire, like, come on, you ran college track, like believe in yourself. I know you didn't have that great of a career. Like, and then I just was like, you know, like just going into the weirdest, darkest, most out of body corners of my mind for that, however long it took, hour.
I have a quote from you, Claire. It says, what you said was, I started going reckless down on the downs because I had been pretty cautious before about sprained ankles and things. And then I was like, this is now or never. I'm either going to win or not. So it was like, you just went for it. Like there's nothing to hold back. You're not thinking about the next day, the next year, life after this. Life could end now, and you're sacrificing your entire mind and soul and body on this course. And yeah, you really went for it. So by No Hands Bridge, so you guys are at mile 94.7 together. Okay. That No Hands Bridge, it's like 2 miles ish later, you would put 1 minute and 45 seconds on Brittany. So you were redlining. I mean, I think what's fascinating to me is that at least what you have said, another quote is, I feel like I was feeling every possible emotion I felt in the last 10 years. I'm semi crying, semi psyched, so depleted. I guess that is like there's so much emotion happening, and yet that maybe was a finish line quote, because I think between No Hands Bridge and the finish, I mean, there was this insane out of body disassociated mindset entirely, where you just like you just gave your all, like you weren't thinking at all. Do you remember anything about that section except like go as fast as you can?
I do. I remember, feeling like this is this is one of the most like unique experiences of my life. Like I do remember knowing that somewhere, maybe I couldn't grasp onto it. And I will say I remember clicking in to athlete mode. Like I don't think I was thinking of the grandeur of what it would be to win Western States like that. I think you have 100 miles to kind of like maybe like dabble in that fantasy, you know, and that's just kind of omnipresent, I think, for all of us, right? But in those 6 miles, I kind of went back to good old fashioned race mode. And like, I think it shows the beauty of experience in this sport of like, if you've pushed yourself enough in various races of various distances, like it was easier for, or it was available for me to click into that, triggered by Brittany, just like Brittany was clicked into that when she caught me. And I was just doing old fashioned mind games with myself. Like, you will sprint to the top of this hill, you know, that terrible last hill.
Oh, yeah. It's called Placerado Hill.
Yeah.
It's a 20.8% grade. You still have the Strava CR.
Oh, really? I was running. That's insane. I have this
running.
Strava CR.
You were throwing down. Okay, wait, hold on.
Not just a CR, but hold on. Yeah. Like, you were up there with like Jared Hazen on pacing. Like, I want to go on Strava and look at top 10 overall, because you were, I'm pretty sure, that stretch from Bridge to Roby Point, you were up there with the top men that were setting course records.
Insane.
That's magic.
You still have the CR for Highway 49 to the finish, 6.75 miles. Of course, okay, not everybody's on Strava. Okay,
right,
fine. But like mostly everyone's on Strava. Okay, Western States for the no hands to the finish, the last 3.5 miles, you still have the CR. Okay, you guys, these are segments that anybody can run on any day. They can go jump on that. This is at the end of a 100-mile race, people.
Yeah.
Okay, from the Western States, they call it this hammer drop. It's the last 1.8 miles of the race. You still have the CR. Roby Point to the finish, which actually is a split that we do have for Courtney on the Western States website, because you know all these splits are recorded for the Western States website. But yeah, you beat her time by like over 2 minutes. I mean, it's pretty impressive, like what you threw down, and it's historic. What Brittany got out of you is mind-boggling. Like the fear that Brittany put on you. I mean, Brittany, you have to feel a little bit of like, you brought her that magic, which is pretty
cool.
I truly do think it's shared, and this speaks to the coolness of racing. Like, I honestly will always be a race diehard fan, because that combination of human, like it was Brittany, me, our pacers, our coaches, the volunteers, the energy of people just really watching us. Like, there is an element of that, of like, there are people rooting for us. Like, you can't replicate that. It's so cool.
Athletes pushing each other to get the best out of themselves, right? Like, that's what sport's all about.
Yeah.
You couldn't have done that. You could never have done that if Brittany wasn't behind you, pushing you. And I mean, I don't know, maybe you could have, but probably not. And I just think that out of body experience is something that is going to be told in the history books of ultra running forever. And the battle that you guys just threw down. Okay, Brittany, we got to go back to you. So you, in pre-race, interviews, you had talked about you wanted to get under 18 hours. Like, that was your real goal of the race. So at least in your interviews after 2, you were really excited, because you're like, hey, I got my sub 18 by a long shot, and I'm feeling really good. Was that really how you were feeling? Were you like, I could have given a little more, or did you feel like you gave every ounce of yourself out there?
No. Yeah. It was, well, I think I was just literally in awe of what Claire did. Like, it really, like, the only time that there was like a little sadness was when Claire got the cougar the next morning.
Sure.
Where it's just like, so close to that. But at the same time, it's like, it really was like that embrace at the finish line there was no hint of disappointment at all. Like there, to this day, it's like, I feel that victory for you because I got to witness what you did. And I do look at that of like, you pulled out the best in me, and then I saw batshit crazy out of you, and it was amazing. So it's like, still, like, of course I would have wanted to win, but it's just like, I still looked at that as like, that was my debut Western, like not my debut 100, like people, I had joked with some people, like, I just wanted to PR because my Leadville in 2013, when I had no idea what I was doing, was just shy of 28 hours, so it's like, I just wanted to PR a little bit, and that's fine, like that was my primary goal. No, I'm just kidding.
Hence the dark horse.
So yes, yeah, most people thought I didn't, and I'm like, let's keep it at that because the other one's not very impressive. But it solidified my, under the radar ability to go and make a stance, I guess. But I mean, so I think really, it's also really funny because that wasn't the live stream, like the hype that can be like literally a cameraman chasing with you or whatever. It was so different than what you guys experienced on the track because you're just in this roar of excitement. And it's like, once we left, like Pointed Rocks was that like chaos of excitement, but then it was like dark silence again. So at least for me, so like for me, it was the headspace of like, wow, like I was not prepared for that. And then it kind of just went into this, like, I don't know, like solitude, some gratitude. So that like, I don't know, just that amazement at what Claire just did, and then trying to hold it for myself. But it was funny because like a friend of mine from Minnesota, like I still remember this quote because it's funny. Like I grew up in Minnesota, and so he's like, "You're a true Minnesotan, catch and release." Like there's that whole thing of like fishing season, we have catch and release. And I'm like, that's true, but I mean, so really it's like for me, that section from Pointed Rocks to No Hands Bridge was kind of that like quiet, like not a somber feeling, but just kind of that like in the moment, but also like it felt like slow motion to me. So it's like that roar of excitement. It was this like inner feeling of a lot of different stuff, but kind of that like acceptance of like, I don't think I can chase this. And then from No Hands, it was like Casey was decently far behind me. So it was that like celebration of like, Claire did something phenomenal. I'm not going to catch her. Like, I think I was literally just starting my climb and I heard cheering up at Pointed Rocks. So I'm like, holy shit. Like, that's amazing. So I was in. Point? Oh, sorry. Yeah. At Roby Point.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like I get to Roby Point, and that last mile or like that last section was really just a celebration of like, give everybody high fives, like enjoy the ambiance of the lights out and like people partying. And like, it was really just like at that point is like not catching her. So it was enjoy those moments of holy shit, you just got second. But also like that whole like, that was freaking epic. But in my mind at that point, it was still just like this like dazed and confused kind of place for me. Like that's where I was.
Claire said something that I thought was real interesting. She said, like the reflection element of looking back on the day. And I'm going to quote you where it says, the event itself is a culmination of thousands of hours of little tests leading to a big celebration of the journey. And I love that quote because it's like of course, life in a day, as we always say, but it was life. It really was like you had all these wins. Like Brittany, you won getting to 94. Like you did that, you passed her. And then it's like, then it was this kind of release of like, I can't hold on, but hell yeah, I went for it. And like, what a freaking boss. I'm just like so in awe of both of you. I'm going to cry. So I have one more question for you guys because I think this is really fun. There was also is such a dynamic race. Like, I wish I was there that day at Placer High School. I mean, oh my God. Okay, so another thing that I think was really cool, Caitlin Gerben and Camila Mayfield's finish. So this just like imagine being in the stands. Like I mean, people still have to be like that doesn't leave you watching this stuff, right? Okay, so Caitlin Gerbin, who so she had gotten second the year prior. So Caitlin's coming in as a favorite. Okay. Camelia and Caitlin sprinted out on the Placer High School track, finished 2 seconds between each other. 2 seconds. Camelia pulled off the 5th place finish. Caitlin 6th place. 2 seconds apart. It was a full-on sprint. I mean, the women's race in 2019, I just can't, and my mind is like freaking out. Did you guys see that, or were you in drug testing? Were you, okay, you saw it. Brittany, you saw it. Claire, did you see it?
I think I was already in drug testing.
Okay.
I like heard it. I didn't actually witness them cross the line, and maybe I did, and my blackout just continued. Drug testing took forever. But I remember talking to Caitlin about it, and she had such similar joy, admiration for Camilla, also like acceptance that she like, was beat in a sprint on a track at the end of Western States. It's like, how can you not laugh? like it's insane.
Absolutely insane. I mean, well, and I think that day, you know how they're kind of like something we say in ultra running is whoever slows down the least wins, right? That's kind of the mindset that we've been told. That day changed that forever. It's not about slowing down the least. It's like whoever can battle out and be the fastest at the end. And I mean, I definitely take that with me when I race. But yeah, I just think that you can't secure the win or that finish line, whatever, 5th, 6th, that battle that they had until it's the very end. And I just think that was like, man, so historic. So beautiful. What a dynamic race. Okay. Anything you guys want to talk about after the race and kind of like the come down from all of it? Brittany, anything?
Oh, I mean, one of my memories is Claire, did you have, I forget if it was pictures or like something, you just had like a whole, maybe it was at drug testing, you had all sorts of chips in your sports bra.
Yeah.
Like, I remember that where I'm like, that is smart.
So many potato chips because I actually was putting them in my sports bra intentionally in the last 20 miles to get them soggy, so I could kind of gum them, and then I pee in the cup, and this woman's watching me in the porta potty trailer,
Right.
go WADA, and I stand up with the cup, and the chips went down. They fell through my bra into my cup, and she was like, "Honey, sorry, you're gonna have to do that."
Oh no!
Yeah, so like 3 hours later.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, that's just like such classic ultra running. But anyway, sorry, Brittany. Yeah.
No, it's like the things that stick out to you. I forgot about that attachment. Maybe that's why the chips always stood out. But it's like I use that with my sports bra more so of like stashed garbage because I'm just tired of like digging into like my side pockets on my shorts or like getting stuff lost in the front pockets. So like I don't know if you inspired me about that. I don't remember if I did that before, but I always remember the chips in the sports bra.
Just take them out before drug testing. That's
gotta have a little bit of janky innovation, every 100. I remember also like it was just so beautiful. Caitlin was there. Casey, I remember Casey like couldn't remember her address. Like she literally was kind of like weeping, and she was like, "I'm sorry, I just can't remember." She had to like fill out a form, and I was like, "Oh, this is so good."
Oh my god!
She's
so
like,
dehydrated
I think this
too.
is
Like everybody's pee is like the color of Coke, right? And you're just like,
gnarly.
oh.
Yeah, but I think more holistically, because the come down from these races, I mean, Katie, you know it so well. Like, it's super real, even for folks who aren't winning, folks who are finishing or not. Like, hundreds are such an absurd thing that we do as ultra runners. And yeah, I've definitely learned that prioritizing like just like peace and calmness and like lack of stimulation after hundreds is important. I really like kind of went into the like craze of like post Western states. I mean, because Brittany and my story was like heavily covered. Like we both were on podcasts like weekly, you know, and I was trying to make the most out of my win and leverage coverage for, you know, the work that the people are doing to prevent oil drilling in Alaska. And I don't regret any of it, like at all. In many ways, though, I've learned that like preserving our nervous system energy and like really like almost regaining our chi takes actual effort and focus and yeah. So like the next time I run Western states, you know, I'm gonna kind of build that in, that even if we just finish, you know, and like barely make the cutoff, these are really taxing events.
And I think for me, it's, I remember that year, I think was one of my first like official running camps later that summer.
Oh yeah.
And that was kind of like full circle maybe of like the come down off of like such a big event can be hard. And that's been something I've been learning for years of like, there's so much more than just like something exciting. I feel grateful that like my second place is more memorable because it's like you have the whole like no one ever remembers second, where it's just like it doesn't matter regardless, you know, but it's like, but that was an epic day that people remember, which is a little sweet icing on the cake, I suppose. But like being able to channel that passion, that joy, maybe not necessarily the success, but like the personal inner success with other people, but then take that into like being on your feet for a long time, exploring something you're passionate about, like encouraging others to do the same. Like that was such a epiphany, I think, for me of like, this is, I think I've said, like, that's more meaningful than any race result I've had. Where it's like, maybe that's like the giver in me, but it's also, it's the full, like, fulfillment of like, I'm doing this versus like, everyone cares about me all of a sudden because I got second. You know, like, that's cool. And it's like very, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it's humbling and I appreciate all of that love from everybody. But it's like what's actually fulfilling in life is like being able to share that with somebody else. And like, I love coaching for that reason too, where it's like I've been injured the last year and a half, where it's like I feel so fortunate that like I had one of my athletes like barely finished UTMB, but it was something last year. It was something that she didn't know if she could do it, and she did it. And it's just like that was the same as me like having that success myself. And I just think like that's been my huge takeaway that maybe has just been progressing over years of sadness and years of like getting stuck in that hole post race. Like I think that's something more people are figuring out and talking about, but it's just like you can't get stuck in that trap of like I got second at Western States, and in my mind at times like I'm still not worthy of attention or whatever. And it's like that's complete trash. Like it's like I'm so much more than just a good runner. And in fact, like this last year, I haven't been a good runner, but it's like I'm a good person to my core, and I love sharing this with people. And I think that's a huge takeaway that I've had over years. But I think it was that like I hit such a high part in my career, and I still had moments of sadness or not feeling good enough or whatever. And it's just like that's crap, you know. So it's been a journey of like correct that narrative because that's total crap. Sorry to go deep here.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting what these races and these accomplishments can do for your life. I mean, it really can launch you to new opportunities and new people and places in the world and adventures and I guess opportunities. But it can be this sense of loss of self, like, wait, wow, this all happened so fast. And Brittany, for you, that definitely launched you into the public eye for really the first time. I mean, Clare had been in the public eye, like Clare had gone into the race as a favorite for you were a dark horse. People didn't know you, so we all were worried about Brittany Peterson racing against you forevermore. We are. And I think there is that sort of pressure that you can put on yourself. And yeah, I think it's, thank you for sharing all of that, because it's so real, and it's not just you're not alone in all of that. Yeah, I think, when you think about like what certain days, races can change you, and it sounds like, that day did have a big impact on both of your lives. And I think it's pretty special, because we don't have that many experiences like that in our lives, where one day can absolutely catapult you into another kind of place in your life. And it did that for you. So,
Totally.
All right, I want to hear, Claire, did you want to say something there?
Well, yeah, I mean, hearing what Brittany said, I just resonated with it so much, and you're so wise, and I've learned a lot from Brittany in these 5 years from this race, of poise and humility. And then interestingly enough, one thing I think we really share in common, which I would guess if it was any two women or men or whoever running Western states that maybe would get first and second, like, we both love to run, like deeply, 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 even though we are balanced women in some way, like both have different careers going on. And in the past year, Brittany and I reconnected this spring, because we both have had kind of gnarly injuries. I mean, Katie, with your foot as well, and just like a lot of stuff going on in life. And there's just something so pure about knowing that we share this passion for this incredible sport, this incredible activity, and that we can just go back and click into those moments on the trail where nothing else in the world matters. We're so lucky to just be out there exerting ourselves kind of at our peaks. Like, in many ways, it was probably some of the best shape I've ever been in my life. And to know that it's possible in our futures. All of us are getting back to health, and this is a lifetime sport. And I think that's kind of what I'm taking from all this, is like, okay, we all go through tough things. It's not like we get first and second at Western States and then just continue to win. I mean, unless you're Courtney, but but we're still here doing our things, and we're all evolving, but we still, man, we love this sport.
And I think
like fever. Yep.
Yeah, like deep connection comes from like us being in our rawest forms of ourselves. And it's like, totally. I will always like see you as a sister, Claire, because we just had this like soul touching experience together that it's like, I hope I'm in your corner forever, because it's like, I just feel so connected to you in a weird way that I've just never had with people. But it's like, that was such a special thing that it's like, we knew each other before, but it's like, now it's like, you're my sister.
Soul's touching. I love it.
I love this so much, and I never want this conversation to end.
Yeah. Lady, you're the best. Seriously. Yeah, huge kudos to you and what y'all are doing at the Trail Network. I think it's great.
Yeah,
thanks for letting us relive this.
Yeah, this has been so much fun, you guys. I mean, I literally could do this all over again tomorrow. I love this. Thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. Thank you for giving the sport the day that you had, because that connection that you share is teaching the rest of us, and you've really modeled how to compete and still how to give undeniable respect for each other as athletes. And I think that has set, it's really that day in your battle changed the sport. And I want to say thank you from someone who came to Western States after that race. I've taken that with me, and I know many of us have, and we still talk about it. And, I think that kind of a head-to-head and that kind of a competitive race, those are going to go on, but this one will be in the history books forever. So thank you so much for coming on. That was a real treat and a conversation I won't ever forget.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Good luck
Katie.
to everyone racing this year.
Okay, all. Whew. What a convo. I was on the edge of my seat. All of that. Wow. I did not want it to end. What did you think? We want to hear about it. Tell us in the comments. We wanted to hear about it through our DMs. Let us know what questions I missed and what you wanted to learn more about so that we can continue to improve over here at the Trail Network podcast. Honestly, we ran out of time to talk more about Clare and Brittany and what they've been up to lately. But I can assure you, they will continue to inspire all of us. That conversation meant a lot to me. One thing's for sure, ultra running has soul, the sport has roots, and these stories of epic battles live on.